Water is our first home. When we come here from the Star Nation, we dwell in our mother's womb in water. When we're born, we're given a drop of water.
I live on a reservation in South Dakota called Pine Ridge. The way that I was brought up with my parents, I was always taught that being Indigenous, being Lakota, meant that, we had an obligation to protect the lands and the waters that our ancestors fought and died for.
Granddaughter, the water can hear you. The water has memory.
Nibi,
Nibi,
Wabo,
Wabo,
Endayan,
Endayan.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misri, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Oh.
Water is the life's blood of our mother, the earth. Water is the lifeblood of our own body.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Misri, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Hey, Heya, 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 Ho.
I think that the term climate activist is something that's almost an oxymoron now. A climate activist should be a normal person at the stage that we're at in this crisis. When people feel like they are personally threatened, when people have been personally affected by a cause, is when they truly start to care about it. And we are denying ourselves our responsibility and our obligation and spirituality when we are not looking at the earth and the people around us as our relatives. Because who are we if we are not related to the earth? We would not be here if it wasn't for the services that Mother Nature has already provided all of us.
In the Lakota way of prayer, which has by now become almost a global saying, Mani Wachoni, they said, that has a lot of meaning, but a kind of shorthand is to say that water is life. Not only is water life, but water is also alive. So it has consciousness. The water is listening to us.
There's still a pipeline in the ground. And the people in Standing Rock, living there every day and drinking the water from the tap, using it to bathe their children, that might not be a possibility any longer within the next few months. The pipeline, we know for a fact, has already leaked, and we don't know, the waters could be already poisoned because of the detection system that is being used currently. It doesn't detect very small amounts of oil, and we don't know, the long-term effects of the poisons that are in the water.
The Respect Our Water campaign was the very first campaign to spread awareness about what was happening in Standing Rock.
Respect our water, respect our land, and respect our people. Join us and sign our petition. And it grew into such a huge and powerful movement that started this entire camp.
That's when people just started pouring in.
She saw the power of it while she was out there. She saw how her voice could bring millions into a movement to help support something.
My dad taught me, as long as you speak your truth, someone's gonna listen. And I learned that I was a lot stronger than I thought I was.
Tokata sees herself and her voice as an opportunity to model resilience and strength for others.
Today we wanted to talk about self-love.
Indigenous young women experience shame and being targets of violence at levels much higher than any other group in the U.S.
Tokata is really inspiring. She does all these cool things and she travels places. She's really open-minded and smart and she knows so much.
Here at Marvel, superheroes are inspired by real-life heroes. So the editors of the best-known Marvel comics have come together to work on a special project about children doing the extraordinary.
We have the potential to change somebody's life. We love stories about heroes who demonstrate great power to help others.
You're good.
You have found your voice. Your courage inspires us all.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Marvel Hero Project.
Woo! I'm not doing this because it's a special interest or because it's more interesting than other subjects. It's because this is an actual crisis and people are being threatened. People are being killed by it today. And it's not just something we can look away from anymore. And instead of asking that, why aren't you so passionate about this? Why aren't you finding this so interesting? And why aren't you spending all your waking hours trying to fight for a livable future for everyone?
The school I'm going to right now used to be an actual boarding school where, our grandparents were tortured, their skin was bleached, they were killed, experimented on. There are still mass graves that are not found and kids who will never be remembered. And I'm going to a school right next to one of those buildings. So it's just kind of been a really long experience, but right now, that school, Red Cloud Indian School on the Pine Ridge Reservation, has the highest graduation rate for on the reservation right now, and so that's the only reason I'm going there.
Do you have forgiveness for what happened in the past, or are you still angry, or?
I don't have forgiveness, but I think that I feel like being able to say, I forgive you, to something like residential schools or boarding schools is like being able to say, I forgive you for the Holocaust. Those are things that cannot be forgiven, cannot be forgotten. It's a really straining experience. Sorry. But, I do want to just, take steps to make it better and to make that place, a place that we can remember and honor the kids that were there. But
forgiveness will include when they give some of our land back, when they take the boot off of our neck just a little bit, so that we don't have to watch our children and our people die a slow genocide, when they renegotiate the treaty. They renegotiate the trust relationship. They completely rethink Indians in the 21st century. We do not have any rights except those that we are willing to die for and those that we are willing to give our freedoms for.
Calls are mounting for President Biden to shut down the Dakota Access Pipeline after a federal appeals court last month upheld a lower court's ruling that the pipeline is operating illegally. Indigenous youth braved sub-zero temperatures Tuesday to run a 93-mile relay to the site of the 2016 No DAPL protests to draw attention to the issue and call on Biden to shut down the pipeline. Indigenous activists Phyllis Young and Chase Iron Eyes with the Lakota People's Law Project addressed President Biden in a new video.
The court has decided at every level that it is illegal, and the truth has prevailed.
We are fighting for our spirit and our lives. That the human-caused climate catastrophe threatens not only everyone who's alive at this very moment, but all of our children.
Last week, 5 Democratic lawmakers asked Biden in a letter to shut down DAPL, writing, quote, "By shutting down this illegal pipeline, you can continue to show your administration values the environment and the rights of Indigenous communities more than the profits of outdated fossil fuel industries," unquote. Meanwhile, over 200 prominent activists, Indigenous leaders, and celebrities urged the Biden administration to shut down DAPL in a letter published Monday.
If the pipeline is put in, it's going to leak or spill or burst or explode, and that oil is going to get into the water. And Dakota Access Pipeline says they're going to bury it 30 feet under, and they're assuring everybody that it's going to be safe. But I think Western science doesn't really know everything it thinks it knows, and we need to make our decisions based on what's best for Mother Earth and our coming generations. And that includes protecting our water. Water is under threat all over the world. Right now, there are people who have no access to clean drinking water.
We found broad expanses of open water in an area where there should normally be thick ice, parts of it multi-year ice, and even at the pole the ice is completely melted and full of holes. It was very evident, you could see it all around. You didn't need measuring instruments. The ice is dying.
And so this water began to talk to me about itself. And it said, it asked me to go and find this larger body of water close by where I live and to go pray in it. And so I stood in this long lake, and I was singing a prayer song with my drum over the water. And then that water started to give me some teaching, and it told me, it's good, daughter, it's good for you to pray into the water. Because when you pray into the water, it actually intensifies your prayer. So literally, you know that water evaporates, and so that water can travel through the clouds. So your intention and your words travel through the clouds, and they can go anywhere they want to go, right? So your prayer and this intention that you're setting can travel through the clouds, and maybe they're going to go and send a little snow down over the Andes. And so I could feel it, that the Andes would say, "Oh, my granddaughter, she's praying. She's praying. She's saying good things, and she's asking for good things, and she's aligning herself with life." And so even the rest of the life, all of the jungle, etc., would be sharing in this intention. And so it was saying, so literally in that way, the water travels, and this consciousness that you're emitting in your prayer into the water begins to travel throughout the consciousness of this life on the earth. So it said, it's really good that you're praying. And then it said, and not only does it travel over space, but it travels through time, because it's always been the same water. Maybe as this Mother Earth travels through the cosmos, we might be gaining some water, but nevertheless, the original water is still here, because this is what we call a closed system, right? So that water just stays here. So we can know that every single person that you see, all of our ancestors had a drink from this very water. So it really does unite us and tie us all together in such a beautiful and graceful way. So one, yes, it's a call for respect, but also it's a call for rejoicing in like, look where we are, look how magical this life is. And so we're just talking about one element here, water, and that's just one aspect of this element. So there's so much magic and mystery all around us if we have the eyes to see it, and if we have a way of listening for that teaching and that instruction. So for me, the water is extraordinary and sacred.
Everybody has a really important message inside of them.
Love yourself.
We really need people to start sharing so that we can change the world together.
And we acknowledge that without water, there is no life.
To continue to pass on the knowledge that needs to be given unto the other generations. You are the keeper of the water.
To make the change in this life condition that we're in, that great-grandchildren will stand up to this truth of what life is about, and to live it in such an honorable way, the way ancestors came to this earth. Each day when the sun rises, no matter how bad the day before might have been, there's a new chance for your hopes and dreams. And I say, Chimigwech, thank you for singing the water song.
Nibi wabo endayen aki miskwi nibi wabo heya 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 hey heya 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 ho.